Hi, I'm Maria Lee Driver, and I'm sitting here today with this young entrepreneur, G Sillah.
Hi, Maria. How
How
are you? Good to see you. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you as well.
Thank you.
Oh, wow, you have a lot going on. Tell me, you are a producer, director, songwriter, entrepreneur, a poet. What all those things?
Ooh, I got my own personal stalker. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've been blessed. I've been blessed with the talent of many hats. And I just try to, delegate each one to per occasion.
Okay.
So poetry actually was my very first. And to be totally honest, I started off in poetry by happenstance.
Okay.
I had a roommate, and he had a notebook. It was like a record-keeping notebook, but it was brand new. It was empty. So I saw it. I was like, oh, man, this is cool. So I just wanted to do something with it. So I just started writing. I just started writing in it, So I started writing poetry, and then I was like, oh, man, this poetry kind of good. So I would, go to these little cafes and get standing ovations. I was like, oh, I probably got to do it. So I've had a couple of poems published, and, went on to use my poetry writing talents to songwriting, and use my songwriting talent to do scripts. A lot of my films that you see that I write, you see they have a very poetic flow to it.
So, being 26 years old, you're so young. How in the world did you decide to just do this actually right now, a Fatal Love? Where did all this come from?
I didn't decide. I said God decided. Yeah, I take it was fate.
Beautiful.
Because to be totally honest, 3 years ago, I never saw myself in the film industry. I've been in the film industry for 2 years now, and I've done quite a bit of things. But 3 years ago, I mean, all my life I wanted to be a police officer, and my brother beat me to it.
Wow.
Right now, my younger brother's a police officer,
Wow.
So I started. I got my real taste of the industry when I went to school. I went to AIU, American Intercontinental University. And I studied media production, And the thing I like about AIU is that we went right into the core classes from the very first day. A lot of times, a lot of universities, you take your general, your maths and your science and your literature. But AIU, my very first class was survey of broadcasting. Then we were on the field with the cameras, and I fell in love with it. In the industry, I started off as an actor. That's my first passion, was acting. And then I kind of transitioned that into filmmaking. As I saw sets, and I kind of have my own little inclination on how this set could be better. While I was on set, everybody was like, why don't you just do it yourself? I was like, well, that's a good idea. Let me try that out. So since then I went on, so since 2010, I've produced over 30 different projects. So it's been a blessing.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. As an entrepreneur myself, and I started out young. My first salon at 19.
Okay.
So I can relate.
So you beat me to it. Okay. You came in younger than me.
I had someone who mentored me.
Mm-hmm.
I go back to every so often I pick up the phone. So to keep me grounded, what about yourself? Who's your mentor? Who keeps you grounded?
Well, I have two different people. I have one as a mentor and one that keeps me grounded.
Okay.
My mentor is a lot of people know him. He's a really great producer here in Atlanta called Bobby Peoples. He actually, I literally owe all of my filmmaking nest to him. Starting off in the industry, I was literally so green. I knew it was what I wanted to do, but I had no idea how to do it. When I came in the industry, Bobby had been doing this for years, and it started off on Facebook. I saw him on Facebook. He would do different things, and I would hit him up. I was like, "Hey, how do I do this with a camera, or how do I go about finding actors, or how about?" And every time I had a question for him, he had an answer for me. Every time, And on the contrary, I've seen a lot of filmmakers and producers kind of shy back from giving too much information to keep themselves on the pedestal. But with Bobby, he was an open book, literally. Like, he wrote a book, and I read it, and I learned a lot of how to make movies and money manual. Get it from Amazon.com. Shameless plug. That book taught me a lot. It's really not even that. It was like 50 pages. Really small, short book, but it taught me a whole lot. as a filmmaker. He actually came out with a sequel to it, a part 2. As far as who keeps me grounded, it goes back to my family. I'm African, you know,
Wow.
and we're
Okay.
really, you know, a lot of people know the African community for being really grounded in family, you know.
What part of Africa?
Sierra Leone,
All right.
West Africa, yes. We're from the Diamond Country, you know.
Nice,
Yes, ma'am.
nice.
I'm originally from Sierra Leone, West Africa. My mother is actually a doctor here, and she has a PhD here in Atlanta. And she has a story here. You need to talk to her. She has a story about
Okay.
herself. You know,
I
she
would
has
love that. Yes.
She came here with no education at all. So she went from her GED to a PhD in 9 years.
No.
You know, raising 4 boys on homeless shelters, evictions. Like, I mean, that's a
Well,
whole...
say that. Say that. I
Yeah,
want
that's
that.
a whole nother conversation right there, you know. But, you know, I mean, her by herself, you know, just her strength and diligence and how she's done so
And see
much.
that carried on.
It carried
So that is
on, you
actually
know.
beautiful.
So I owe a lot of my groundness to her, you know, and my mentorship to
So
Bobby.
tomorrow night, big night for you.
Tomorrow night. What's going on tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night is going to be your premiere
Yes.
of The Fate of Love.
Yes, ma'am.
What are the viewers going to take away from that?
Whoo! Fatal love. Goodness gracious. The reason I did that animated gesture was because we've been going back and forth with this project for 2 years now.
Okay.
Bobby actually that's the project that I was going to him back and forth. That project that I was shooting, my very first film I ever shot. You know, very first thing I ever did in the industry. So since then, I've learned so much as a filmmaker. Actors have learned so much as actors. So, you know, my work then to now, it's still great, but in comparison, you know what I'm saying? But as far as the story, I mean, it's a phenomenal story. It's a faith-based film about a young man who gets taken into the future by 2 angels to show him what his life is going to be like if he doesn't reach salvation. So it's really compelling. It's really fast. It's really I mean, I filmed it. I've watched it probably 1,000,000 times in editing, and every time I watch it, it still captivates me. You know. But to answer your question, what they will take away, forgiveness is one of the key things in this film. It's definitely forgiveness. I ain't gonna give the movie away. I'm horrible at that. So you got to stop me because I'll tell you the whole movie. But forgiveness is one thing that perseverance. It's about marriage. You know what I'm saying? So it's 2 different marriages going through. Well, it's 1 marriage and 1 potential marriage. So it's laughter, it's smiles, it's cries. You're gonna love some people. You're gonna hate some people. You're gonna hate some people in this movie. You're gonna love some people. You're gonna smile. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna cry. So it's you know, I'm just so excited that you know what God has been doing with this project.
What I would like to know, by you being such a young entrepreneur, what would you suggest, or what advice would you give someone your age that want to come in and do exactly what you're doing?
Okay, that's a question I get a lot, you know. And there's 2 words that I always say when you want to get into this industry. Number 1 is perseverance,
Yes.
because it's not an easy. It's an easy industry to get into, but it's not an easy industry to break into.
Okay.
Anybody can pick up a camera and shoot something. You know what I'm saying? But as far as, you know, persevering to know, first of all, in this industry, in entertainment, with anything, film, music, whatever it is, you're going to get more no's than you do yeses.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
of course,
So
yes.
you have to persevere. If this is your passion, if this is your calling, it's going to happen for you, so you have to persevere. The second word I always use is investment. You have to invest in yourself, in your craft, whether you want to be an actor, a filmmaker. I've invested in my family itself. I mean, we've invested unsurmountable amount of even money, time, energy, prayer, sacrifice, a lot, you know, for them to make sure that I get to where I'm getting. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing, is to support. You know, get a good support system behind you that'll support you, that you can lean on, that you can call on. Not only always about money, but even morally. You know, a lot of times you'll get down because something's not going right. You know, I've had those days many times. So investment, perseverance, support. You know, if you have all 3 of those, and top it off with God, you will be okay. just make sure God's first in your life. Make sure you keep him there. And he will, you light yourself in him. He'll give you the desires of your heart. Let me start preaching.
I'm a really driver here with Al G Sillah. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. All right, thank you.
I'm going to hold you to your mom.
Oh, yes, definitely. Oh, she'll be here.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm filmmaker Al G Sillah. You can reach me at IamAlGSillah.com. Well, there it is at the bottom of your screen right there. See, there we go. IamAlGSillah.com.
Hi, I'm a really driver. Just got finished interviewing filmmaker Al G Sillah. You can find me on www.ariasoshay.com. Stay tuned.